A bipartisan deal to spend nearly $1 trillion in the nation's infrastructure appears to be back on track. The bill is alive again following a reversal by President Joe Biden. Last week, he said he supported the agreement and then later said he would only support the measure if it were coupled with a larger Democrat-backed plan on taxes. Following the reversal, some Republicans believe the measure has enough votes to pass the Senate. Joining us now is Dennis Ross, former Republican Congressman from Florida and director of the American Center for Political Leadership at Southeastern University. Representative Ross, thank you so much for your time today. We appreciate it. First off, I'd like to get your thoughts on the infrastructure bill, and also, what do you make of President Biden's walk back?
Well, I think the infrastructure bill, look, we've needed infrastructure investment for quite some time, well before the 2008 recession. In fact, that's what that whole package, the bailout then was for, but it never happened for shovel-ready projects. We have a terrible infrastructure, whether it be roads, bridges, sewer systems, grids, everything, broadband. We need help. We don't have dollars. So I'm not surprised that we came to a bipartisan deal. About $500 billion of it is for actual infrastructure. The other, it's in order to grease the wheels to get the package passed on both sides of the aisle. So, you know, we need to get something done. How we're going to pay for it is going to be the interesting thing. President Biden walking back, it doesn't surprise me. You know, look, he's had 6 months of momentum in the majority, and he's realized that he can't get things done that he promised he was going to do, nor will he be able to get done what his left wing wants him to get to do, but he's got to produce something. And I think the Republicans holding his feet to the fire and saying we're not going to go along with anything unless you take into consideration our concerns is starting to pay off, at least in a little bit. It's still going to be an expensive package, but again, it's something that we really have to address.
Yeah, I want to switch gears here just a little bit. Former President Donald Trump, he held a rally over the weekend. Do you know what the purpose of that was? What do we know about the turnout there? And also, what do you think of this strategy for Republicans going into the 2022 midterms?
Well, I can tell you from personal experience, because I spoke at 5 rallies for then candidate Trump in 2016. This is a person who enjoys, in fact, really gets excited about getting other people excited about America and being involved in the political process. I think he's ready to get back on the trail. Whether he comes back as wanting to be the king or the kingmaker, I don't know yet. But I know that he's focusing on those that voted against him in the impeachment, the 10 Republicans who did so. He wants to be able to see what kind of value he still has with the American public and especially his base. You'll see him do rallies. I think he's got one scheduled in Sarasota down here in Florida for the July 3rd, I think. I think he's got another one in between there. He'll start picking these up and see how things go. You know, this is a man who was looking at all his options. People said, well, maybe he'll run for the House and be Speaker of the House. He doesn't need to be a member of Congress to be Speaker of the House. You know, if the Republicans take the majority in 2022 and he is popular enough with them that there's a possibility they could elect him as Speaker of the House without ever being a member of the House. So he still is in a kingmaker role right now. If not, he decide to go to become, you know, president in 2024. I think that's a difficult road for him at this point, but he still has a great deal of influence. As you know, from the Republican minority in the House right now continues to work with him and try to build a base in order to get the majority in 2022.
Well, something else I want to talk about, we only have about a minute left or so. It also happened over the weekend, as mentioned earlier. The U.S. launched what the Pentagon has called defensive airstrikes against Iranian-backed militias in Syria and Iraq. Quickly, can you talk more about that and also the timing of it?
Yeah, I can tell you, the Iranians, through their proxies, through Hezbollah, have been attacking through drones and otherwise American forces in Iraq. I was over there. I led a congressional delegation there in 2018. We saw this happening. At that point, we were able to empower the Iraqi military and people to fight this, and we were successful. The timing of this is really interesting because Iran is now coming to the table wanting to have continued lessening of the restrictions, economic sanctions against them, and wanting to reaffirm the nuclear deal that they entered into with President Obama. These are to show some force, show of force that they mean business. And I'm glad to see President Biden at least fought back to protect American troops. especially on the Iraqi-Syrian border, where it is a very hotbed of problems. I'm hopeful, but we've got to be a little bit more. We don't need to send troops over there. We don't need to be doing that. We saw that from the last time we got rid of ISIS, we can empower the Iraqi people, the Iraqi military, to do what's necessary to protect themselves. But this is a good first step to have these strikes to show that we are not going to tolerate them attacking us.
No, Representative Ross, great talking with you. Thank you so much for coming on. Representative Dennis Ross, former congressman from Florida and director of the American Center for Political Leadership at Southeastern University. Thank you again.
Thank you.